NFL Ranking Show, week 2. I'm your host, Eric. Main man, Ron, how are you?
Hey, I'm pumped up, man. I'll tell you, I do have to say, Eric, I'm doing pretty good on the first 2 weeks of predictions
Yes, you are.
for
Definitely are.
my season when we went through the preview show.
Yes.
I think I'm pretty well. There's always going to be some surprises, but I think I'm doing quite well with this.
No, definitely the NFL season so far has been, it's been interesting. And
Oh
what we
yeah.
wanted to do is kind of go through how we got to our top 5 for week 2. So I will start us off at number 5. As you can see there, that's our NFL rankings released every Tuesday, along with our MLB rankings every Tuesday. And can't wait for hockey and basketball. They're around the corner as well. But Tampa Bay, I had at number 5. Obviously 2-0, but they are not scoring as well as some of these other teams. Only have 39 points fourth, 13 points against. Very good defensively. A plus 26 in the point differential. Offensively, they'll rank 24th, 5th defensively. They've beaten Dallas and they've beaten New Orleans. Dallas, obviously, week 1, kind of unsure if they were going to be a playoff team. Now with the injury with Dak, we're not quite sure. And New Orleans, they've struggled with New Orleans and then ended up in the fourth quarter coming back and looking very good to win that game. That's why I had them at 5.
Yeah, initially, I was a little skeptical on whether Tampa Bay should have been number 4, but the offense, yeah, just hasn't been there, and rightfully so with all the injuries to the receiving core, the offensive line. So the Tampa Bay offense is still feeling itself out, and it's got a long way to go. And Tom Brady, I mean, he'll right the ship, and you got to feel that he's going to get better with the newer players that have joined the team as well, and
Yeah, big
I think
signing
he'll
this
be
week.
fine.
Cole Beasley is now
Oh yeah,
signed with
that was big.
them. So again, we know their injuries at wide receiver, plus the suspension next week of Mike Evans. So it'll be interesting to see. At number 4, the Miami Dolphins. 2-0 again as well. 62 points for, 45 points again. So only a plus 17. Second offensively, 21st defensively. Beat New England, and then the big comeback against Baltimore. Feel like is on the upward swing, but I also feel like the New England win, we're kind of in the air as what New England is. And then Baltimore, you were down by 21 going into the fourth quarter. And I think it was more about Baltimore. Baltimore would have been on this list if they had continued to win that game. Unfortunately, they decided to give it away and gave it to Miami. And then I had to put Miami on the list because of that.
Here with Miami, is just giving up exactly what they're scoring. Basically, the yards are not much different. You know, impressive though. 3 for 3 so far for the season. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, we could call it Tua coming out party, 6 touchdowns.
I just feel we need to pump the brakes. Yes. Fitzpatrick has had 6. Has not been. And back in that game. So I'm a little leery, but they definitely deserve to be 4.
Yep, having some slight delays here, so I do apologize. So we'll move on to number 3, Philadelphia. This is a surprise team for me. Did not expect to see them on this list, but have played very well. Jalen Hurts has looked good. They're 2-0, 62 points for, 42 points against, so they're a plus 20. Number one offense in the league. That's very impressive.
Yeah.
14th defensively. Yeah. They beat Detroit and Minnesota, so people can say Detroit's played very good football and been very competitive. And Minnesota, going into week 2, had played very well against Green Bay, and then could not match Philadelphia's strength. So it was pretty interesting. I felt they were the third best team so far this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, when you look at the offense, it looks when you take a look at Jalen Hurts, it looks like it's lopsided and Jalen Hurts is doing everything. But it's really not, because if you look at the running backs, Sanders, 100, and of course Hurts has 147. But with that and the 576 yards passing, that is a balanced attack, and it has been very AJ Brown has been huge.
Major pickup.
Huge. And he is probably going to have career highs this year. Of course, stay healthy. I think that's just big. And Dallas Goedert, or Goddard, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Goddard.
142 yards. That is pretty impressive too. But he's been spreading the ball around, giving it to all the receivers, making it so that way the defense can't have to worry about everybody on offense. And when you're worried about everybody, and then you have the threat of that run, like we haven't seen since Michael Vick. And I got to tell you, from what I'm seeing from him this year, better than Michael Vick ever was already.
More accurate, definitely a better passer. I think, to your point, the addition of A.J. Brown, what a great move by them.
Absolutely.
Because you get Devontae Smith on the other side, and that was a great move. That was a great move by Philly. Quiet. We talked about some of the defensive guys they picked up as well. Look, we like this team, and it's going to be interesting to see, because that NFC East is theirs for the taking.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So at number 2, I went with the Kansas City Chiefs. 71 points, fourth, second highest in the league they've scored. They've given up 45, though, so only a plus 26. Fifth offensively, 19th defensively. Beat Arizona, and then they beat the LA Chargers.
Yeah, and those
expect the Chargers
wins.
Yeah. So you have to look at what they were able to do. They kept Arizona in check, made Arizona look horrible. And then, again, tough team to play, your own division, was able to handle your business. I feel like, look, as bad as we thought they may have been with the loss of Tyreek Hill, they're probably better. I think the fact that he lost Tyreek forces Patrick Mahomes to be a better quarterback and look in different areas, and he's getting everybody involved. Every single one of those involved.
We talked about this on our Friday show, how it looks to be like, because you don't have that deep threat anymore, which may actually be wrong, because I think they do have a deep threat. It's just that, it wasn't as obvious as it was with Tyreek Hill being there. It's just not obvious anymore. But he has to be smarter in his decisions, because he can't just chuck it up to Tyreek. Everything's going to be okay. Yep. And last year, that wasn't the case. And we saw the kind of like setback for Mahomes in that, because he thought he was too good, maybe. I think maybe it's just he just expected all those plays to hit constantly without defenses to actually get used to what they're trying to do. And then when they did, and they had turnovers, and that really cost the season. It's that shape that happened, and you didn't have that deep ball threat anymore, because it basically started defending them. So reshuffled, and now they look better than they did last year. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely going to be a contender. But I had to go number one, the Buffalo Bills. 2-0, obviously, but 72 points for, highest in the league. 17 points against. Their defense has been remarkable. A plus 55 in a point differential. So you're talking about just an amazing display of scoring and then defense holding opponents. Third in offense, second in defense. They've beaten the defending champs at home, obviously opening night. And then Tennessee did not even look remotely like they belonged on the field with them. This team by far has an opportunity, and dare I say it,
Yes,
possibly to go undefeated.
it is possible with this team. First of all, you got Allen, who's a man on a mission, and we've seen that before. Look, we've seen it. We've seen that desire and passion in Tom Brady. Now, I'm not trying to compare, but that compassion and that desire is there. And I'll tell you, when Allen is running the ball, he is like a bull in a china shop. He just
It's
runs people over or runs over them.
Yeah.
Literally jumps over them and gets that first down. So, Allen is on a mission. And I don't see that changing yet this year. It's going to have to take a great performance by a team to beat them. And I'll tell you, when you look at some of those numbers, okay, turnover ratio 3-0. Okay. TDs 2. When you talk about have had 45 plays and average 2.9 yards per carry. That is terrible. And then when you put the fact that, wow, they had Henry going against them, that really makes the number glaring because Henry really is the best running back in the league.
Yeah.
And they just shut him down. I mean, he looked not even mustering up 2 yards a carry in that game.
Yeah. He looked mortal for sure. Looked mortal for sure. So that's our top 5, 1 through 5. We could bring the chart time, and then we'll discuss. So I did want to talk about a team that possibly could be on this list. There's one other remaining 2-0 team. That's the New York Giants.
Oh, it's not the Houston Texans?
So 1-1. 1-1. Right? Are they 1-1?
Yes, 1-1.
Yeah. So think about this, though. Big game this week. Miami and Buffalo. Buffalo's going to Miami. One of these teams is going to lose this game, obviously, unless it goes in a tie. Please don't. New York Giants, with another win, possibly could get onto this list.
Yeah.
Which would be the most surprising. If you thought you were shocked with like Philly and Miami being on this list, after
but I'll tell you,
the New York Giants.
If the Buffalo Miami because that would just mean that one of these teams would be 5th with a 2-1 record.
Yeah, very well.
Because if it's that close, then they both deserve to stay in there. If that close. If it's, 10-point difference, that's not close.
Yeah. So that's our top 5 for this week. We will do one of these ranking shows every week. So week 3 on Tuesday, and we will do a show following that. But let's talk.
You nailed it, though. That is the perfect list right there.
Thank you, sir. And as you well know, your hockey is impeccable as well. So can't wait for those. I know you wanted to discuss before we ended the show some stars, some keys from the previous week. So week 2, I had a couple players, and then I have 3 teams that I'd like to discuss. But you want to start us off with one of your top players or teams?
Yes, Diggs. I mean,
Stephon Diggs.
He was in the end zone like all day against Tennessee, all day. So I put him at number 3. Debated whether I wanted him at number 2, but nope, I decided number 3.
Yep. I would agree with 3. I only had 2 players. So my number 2 was Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
And I just think what he was able to do with ease, it didn't even look difficult.
It was.
And we know Mike Vrabel is usually a very good coach defensively and plans and just couldn't figure it out.
Josh Allen only ran the ball once. He had his receivers at any moment of the game.
It was just
he didn't have to run.
Insane. Your number 1? Or did you have a different number 2? I'm sorry.
My number 2, Matt Milano, because he was also in the end zone for Buffalo, and he's a defensive player.
Yes,
and he was disruptive the whole game. The whole game. And I every time it seemed like, Tennessee was stopped, it was because Milano. That's just, and not Alyssa, it was Matt.
But he was telling them who's the boss.
Too.
Yeah, he was telling them who's the boss, for sure.
That's right.
For sure. So who was your number 1?
Number 1, I put Jalen Hurts.
Very good. Good pick.
He had 300 yards passing and like 1 billion running. So he had 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, he was just ridiculous. Everything that you could have wanted to do, he did in that game. I mean, he was just a man on a mission, like Allen is, and that could be a potential clash. Yeah,
Super Bowl.
Could you imagine? Who would have thought that?
I did see a meme the other day. They said, I don't think both cities could handle a Buffalo-Philadelphia Super Bowl. It's just those 2 cities. We know their fans and how rowdy they get. That would be a very interesting Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But wanted to also talk about Tua.
Well, who was your number 1?
Tua.
Oh, Tua.
Miami,
Oh, okay.
6 touchdown passes, led the comeback. We criticize him all the time. And then you think about what he was able to do against a formidable opponent in Baltimore. I thought Tua stood out amongst most when it comes to the fact that he outperformed Lamar Jackson, who started off that game looking like he was going to break some kind of records. And they were able to control it and end up winning that game. So I thought Tua showed a lot of signs of maturity and growth in this previous week. So I got 3 teams too I want to discuss, if you don't mind. Obviously, I wanted to talk about the Dolphins and the Miami Dolphins, right, with that great comeback. But then I want to talk Arizona Cardinals. This was a game they had to win. It didn't look good. We're able to tie it up and then win in overtime.
Yeah.
That was a big momentum swing for them, because if they went 0-2, especially the way they lost in week 1, it would have been probably an ugly season. Great turnaround for them last week.
Yeah, and against a team that was in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's looking really rough for these teams out there, Cincinnati especially.
Yeah.
They don't look like the same team.
No, not at all. Not at all. My surprise number 1 team, though, last week, the New York Jets. We talked about the Jets during our NFL preview show and said they would be a feisty team, competitive.
Yeah.
May not win a lot of games, but they would be competitive. What a display to come back in a game that clearly you shouldn't have won.
Right.
And then the fact that most people were counting you out to begin with this season. You're 1-1 with your backup quarterback, Joe Flacco. To me, that was a great display by the New York Jets last week. You have to give them much props.
Hey, look, Joe Flacco is a Super Bowl winner. I mean, he knows how to get it done. Nobody's expecting him to do anything. They think he's past his prime, and he is. He is well past his prime, but it doesn't stop him from knowing what to do. and you surround him with talent, albeit very young, inexperienced talent, but talent it is. I mean, we said how great their draft was, and it was the best draft. So you're looking at 4 or 5 guys that bring in that talent. Yes, no experience, but you're adding 4 or 5 quality players to your roster, and that with the guys that they just recently got, the past couple of years, uh, their mix is starting to gel, and you give them a top flight quarterback, and you're gonna have, I don't know if Wilson will be the answer. I still have my doubts.
Yeah.
I thought he was probably the worst quarterback of that first round. But you have a capable backup in Flacco, and he can win a Super Bowl given the talent around him. And now it's just a matter of getting that defense, because you know they can put some points on the board. With Flacco, yes, it's not explosive. I get it, but like you said, they're going to be a feisty team, and they're going to be in just about every game. And all it takes is one bad bounce for the other team, and that could change direction.
Yeah, I think the two teams we really want to say are
win.
going in better directions finally are the Detroit Lions and the New York Jets.
Yeah.
You can start to see what they're building, and it's starting to work. So, really fun. Can't wait for week 3. This Thursday, we already have Thursday night football, so looking forward to that as well. Every Tuesday we will do our NFL rankings. We'll put those out. We'll do a show hopefully every Wednesday. We'll try to set that up. If you enjoy what you're watching, you want to check us out live at 6 p.m. every Friday night. When we do our regular show, we cover all of the top sports topics of the week, not just the NFL. Can't wait for this week already. We got some Celtics news we're going to be discussing. Big
Lots
injury.
of hockey news too.
Big injuries, some hockey news, former Bruin retiring. We'll discuss that. We'll discuss Rob Williams' situation with the Boston Celtics. Trey Lance now out for the year. The Jimmy Garoppolo situation in San Francisco.
How lucky is San Francisco?
Right. So we're going to talk about all that. And then maybe by Friday, we'll be talking about a new American League home run champion in Aaron Judge.
I hope
so. We've got a lot to go on. Just lost Ron. Do apologize for that. But this has been Sports Unfolded NFL ranking show for week 2. Again, we will do these every week. He's on the other side. There we go.
Okay.
But we're very excited to do these. We didn't do them last year. But it's about time that we started doing these. So can't wait. Can't wait for NHL rankings. We got our NHL preview show coming up October 4th. We'll break down all the teams. NBA soon to follow after that. I believe the 17th, 18th is a preliminary date for that. So we'll be breaking down all of that as well. So much to cover in the sports world. But this has been our NFL ranking show, week 2. Ron, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Fans out there, take care. Peace.